to my Flagstaff home. Today I'm going to give you an update on my tomatoes. I've done a few videos in past weeks. I showed you when I started my seeds in my AeroGarden, which is a hydroponic garden in my house, and I started all my tomato plants. Then when they got too big to fit in the AeroGarden anymore, I moved them out into some pots and put them in a sunny window. It's a south-facing window upstairs where they have been growing happily for the last couple of weeks. Some of my tomato seeds got planted late. I found packets that I thought, oh my gosh, I wanted to plant those, and so I started them a couple weeks after the others. There were some others that kind of got pushed out. Some of the plants grew really fast and then blocked the light and the warmth down to some of the other ones, and so a few of them stayed small. And so when I moved a lot of them into pots, there were some that were really small. And also when you're using an AeroGarden and you're going to transplant from there, check underneath the lid, kind of lift it up and see what the root system looks like under there. Because I had a few that you could see that there were roots that were growing in that little soil plug that you put things in. It's really more like a sponge. I could see the roots, but there wasn't a bunch of roots coming off the bottom. And I just was worried that if I transplanted them at that point that they would have a really difficult time absorbing water from the soil. So I waited and I kept about 8 of them in the AeroGarden longer until they got a little bit taller and they had a good root system coming out, and then I planted those. So anyway, let me go upstairs and show you what my plants look like right now. Okay, so here they are. Here are all of my tomato plants. Some of them are looking amazing, like this Aunt Ruby tomato here. It's gotten so tall, and several of them are doing really well over here that are closest to the window. What is that one? That's a golden pear. I don't remember, Purdon maybe on that one. Another Aunt Ruby. This is one, there were a few that hadn't gotten very large, and so they just got potted. When did I do this? Like 4 days ago? This little guy was one of the ones I just did, and its stem was curved anyway, but it's looking kind of sad. I'll give it a little bit of water. Sometimes they just go through shock. They've been living with their roots in water, bathed in water, and then all of a sudden they've got to extract their water from soil, and sometimes they don't like it. And so this guy looks like he's not very happy. So I think I'll put a little bit more water in there. Most of the other guys are doing okay. I have this one that's sort of laying to the side, but it was sort of, this is a recent one. Was it a recent one? I don't know. Anyway, it was sort of laying to the side. It kind of grew that way in the AeroGarden anyway. And so, yeah, this one has kind of a crooked stem too, and that was part of what happened in the AeroGarden. The other ones grew pretty straight. So today's date is April, 16th? And so these guys will be in here for another few weeks. I usually transplant them out into my garden the 1st of May. It will still be cold. We'll still be going down below freezing, but I'll be putting them in walls of water. And so, yeah, so a couple more weeks in here. And then let me just see, our backyard is so bleak. We're having a blustery day. It was cold. It snowed yesterday, 3 inches. And so all our furniture is still covered. But over there, oh, I don't know if you can see it. Right, let's get my finger in here. Right there, next to those buckets, I have 6 little plots. And then I have another one that is over this way against the house. My tomatoes are gonna go right here this year. I do crop rotation, and so they're going right there. I still need to amend the soil. I need to do all kinds of stuff before I can put them out there. And anyway, hopefully you'll come along so you can see how they continue to grow when they get out. Okay, so I have one that I showed you in the video that looks a little sad, and I checked it this morning and it's still looking a little sad. And it is the reason why I always plant one more of every tomato plant than I want. So I have a whole bunch of varieties. I think I have 8 different varieties. And I always, if I want 2 of something, I plant 3. And that is just so if one does what this one's doing and looks like it's probably going to die, then I still have 2 others. Or sometimes I go and I start planting my things in the ground and I snap a stem. And if that happens, I still have some extras. Remember that if you're going to be going from an aero garden into pots, at the very beginning you need to give them a really good drink of water. In the first few days you want the soil to stay pretty wet and you don't want to waterlog them. But they've been, you know, the roots have been living in water for weeks, and then all of a sudden you put them in soil and it's got to be kind of a shock to them. So I just make sure that the roots stay nice and wet for the first couple of days, and then after that I kind of back them off so that the roots learn to just take the water from the soil. Very excited about this. I have about 2 more weeks until I take the plants and put them out into my garden in walls of water. As I mentioned before, a wall of water kind of sits over a plant like a teepee. It has cylinders that are filled with water. They absorb heat from the sun, which then warms the ground, and then it will keep the plants protected down to 16 degrees and even if it snows. So you'll see that, because the next video I'm going to do is when I put the tomatoes out into the garden, and so you'll get to see my walls of water. So I hope that this was fun for you to see my little bedroom garden right now, and I will show you more as we go along. I hope you'll stay with me on my Flagstaff home. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button and then you can see when I upload new videos. So take care, you guys, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.